So let me just start the recording. All right. Lovely. Okay, so like we do in every single show, we're going to start off with our fear and greed index. So we actually dropped 2 points from yesterday. We were at 11, if my recollection serves me right, which means that, well, we're, we're not. Sentiment has gotten a little bit worse. This, if as a contrarian, this is good for me because that means I'm able to position lower. But if sentiment continues to stay like this, it might be very difficult to really justify um, such moves or like any moves to the upside. We can also see that the last time we were at about this level, so all the way back in 2021. We also had a few stints here in 2022 where we dropped to 6. Hey, Daga. Thanks for dropping by. And yeah, if we're at 9 today, that does not bode well. If we go to the current Bitcoin exchange liquidation map, let me refresh this so we're accurate. There are more longs to the upside once again, more longs to the downside, sorry, and then there are less shorts to the upside. You can see that we do have big clusters, so similar to yesterday, I'm expecting volatility. I really just see us ranging for the next few days. Now, on the 1 week, you are still biased to the upside, which is good because when we started or when we traded yesterday, we were biased to the upside, to the downside. There were more longs than shorts, and those longs got taken out. We had our scalp short on Bitcoin, scalp long on Bitcoin. I'm speaking a little fast, so I think my brain's got to catch up. We had our scalp long on Bitcoin yesterday, and that was very successful. We hit full take profit on that. So I'm thinking of doing a similar strategy, but we're going to have to reconcile that with the TA to make sure that we are doing an appropriate approach for our purposes. Now, on the 30-day, it's still biased to the upside, and the rest is going to say the same thing, with the 1 year showing just crazy amounts of liquidations to the upside. Now, if we go to the RSI heat map on the 12-hour, we are in neutral. And notice that compared to yesterday, where our big three was literally in weak or oversold, they've now moved to about neutral. Now, you still. Is this Bitcoin down here? Yeah, so BTC is still technically weak, but it's like on the cusp of going to neutral. ETH and Solana have moved to neutral. Now, if we go to a higher time frame to look at our RSI heat map, BTC, Ethereum, and Solana are still in week, and going to the 1 week, I do believe they're still in week, with the average RSI at 33.69. Now, looking at our liquidation heat map, let's go to the 24-hour to see what our short-term targets are. I do think that with market open and 26 minutes, we're likely to get a visit to maybe 66.2, given that this is our hotspot. And remember, when we traded based on this yesterday, we did pretty well on our scalp. Very minimal drawdown. I mean, we revisited entry, but that was basically a 1 to 2.5, even a 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio, and we did pretty well on that trade, if not the best on that trade. So I'm thinking of something similar again. Now, from a more macro perspective, if you go to the 3 day, I mean, you have hotspots at around 66.2, like we said, but there are more clusters up here at about 68 and 69. So that does tell me that we do want some upside, but there's no real catalyst for upside movement. Here on the 1 week, which traditionally, or not traditionally rather, but at least in what contemporary, or at least in recent weeks, has been really strong, or has shown really strong hotspots to the upside. But right now, we're not really seeing that same strength. I mean, we're seeing even bigger hotspots to the downside, which does tell me we're likely to revisit our moves to the downside. Going into the 2 week, I do believe that's when we get our hotspots to the upside. Yep. So 2 week, we're looking at 71, even up to 75. Same thing with the 1 month. Yes, with the 1 month, it says that we want to go to at least 84. So that about does it for FA. So what have we gathered? There's liquidity stacked on both sides. Amazing, right? That's not new information. We're dealing with the same thing, and well, let's see here. Let me just remove the drawings here. Yeah. So we're not dealing with any new information, which is good because that means we can have some sort of prediction over this market. All right, let me just check what's in chat. Yes, hey Daga, hey Eddie, thank you for dropping by. Hey T Sugar, Eons 1X, welcome to the show. So, looking at Bitcoin, let's actually zoom out to maybe the. Let's go a little macro first. So 4 hour, and then let's go 1 day. So for those who may not have seen what I announced on my channel, essentially Bitcoin was in a ascending wedge or ascending triangle for quite a while, right? So if we draw the ascending triangle, it looks something like this. Now, ascending triangles are fickle structures because of the fact that technically, if you're able to bounce on the lower trend line, creating higher lows, then you'd be able to have enough strength, I mean, ideally in theory, right, to break to the upside. What happened is that we got to test this resistance quite a few times. I mean, that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. We got to the lower trend line, we bounced, we almost got to the resistance, but not quite. We got rejected, and then we were bouncing off of it. And I said that we officially closed under the ascending triangle on the 12-hour. Now the daily, if you look, does have a chance to still get above or get inside the ascending triangle. But given sort of what we've been seeing, I'm not too confident. If we bring this to the 12-hour, you'll see what I mean, in the sense that this is a fairly bearish candle set right here. I mean, it's not mega bearish, but the fact that you closed lower than the last candle, I mean, you do have wicks, right? But if your CPO plus looks like this, if you're starting to curve on your MVP ribbon, I see downside. There's a chance that because your MVP ribbon on the 1 day could potentially push you up, there is a chance we get back into this structure and reclaim some levels, but I'm not really keen on that idea, even if the likes of our chick magnets are saying that we want upside. Chick magnets, I find, are better as price targets more so than actual magnets as intended. I mean, you can use them as magnets to guide your TA, but based on what I'm seeing, we're more likely to head down to like 65, or at least test 66 and then go back to 65. At 66, too, is it's about to say auspicious level. It's an interesting level because we saw that earlier in our FA. So about 66.2 seems to be an interesting point of interest we want to look at for market open. Now, what I've learned is that we can probably do the same trick with some of our other coins. So let's actually look at Ethereum and Solana using the same sort of framework. So let me just change this back to the 24-hour. Let's go with Ethereum. Nope. Of course. Come on. Alright, there you go. So Ethereum has that hotspot down at 1934. So let's go mark that on our charts. And this gives you sort of a general idea of how I trade. We want to see if there are any ways that we can reconcile fundamental analysis with technical analysis. So I don't know what's happening here. Let me just fix this up for us. Oh, why is it 0.08? That's crazy. So earlier we said that Ethereum is at 1934. Let's go ahead and see where that might lie on charts. So it looks like it's at this swing, or at this wick area. Yeah, thereabouts. There you go. So it is the previous day low, which means that if we do sweep this, we're likely to basically get these guys who put their stop loss here when they went long. I think yesterday. This should be yesterday. So yeah. Looking at the 1 day for Ethereum, I mean, this doesn't really give you a lot of confidence, right? You are still. Oh, it's also the macro support on the 1 day, so that's interesting. Uh, that is interesting. We should probably eye Ethereum and Bitcoin for this stream. Let's go back to fresh. Let's go down to the lower time frame, see what we're dealing with. Let's do 1 hour. Oh yeah, if any of you guys have questions or anything or any sort of coins you want me to look at or asset class, just let me know. Yeah, don't be shy for our new viewers over here. Okay, so 66,192. Let's see. Okay. So here in the 5 minutes, it's not really a point of interest. Like there's not a lot of confluence at this point, but here in the 1 hour, it looks like you could drop to that previous day low and go oversold. And then momentum could carry you down to 66,192. Hold on. Let me just fix something real quick. Alright, I am back. And for context, guys, I might have to end the stream a little early. Not too early. Maybe like 15 minutes early. Just because I have to take care of my tailbone. It's kind of bruised right now. Apparently I don't even know how I oversat, but when I got to the infirmary today, the university doctor gave me some inflammatory or anti-inflammatory medicine for the pain. So that's not fun. So after that, I'm just gonna just stand the whole time and to basically reduce the pressure on my tailbone. So I'll just end it like 15 minutes early. I know this is the longer stream, so I still want to give you guys that extra 15 minutes because while yesterday was successful, we do have more time to be more successful in this stream. So yeah, hey Addy, welcome. But let's sort of look at what Bitcoin's doing. We still have 15 minutes before market open, so I guess we can take a look at Solana in the meantime. Let's do the same thing and do a similar approach, but this time I'll just look at where the hotspot is on Sol, and you guys will just have to take my word for it. And don't worry, I'm not trying to trick anyone. It says 81, although okay, maybe I do have to show this because this is a little different compared to what we saw with Bitcoin and Ethereum. So if you guys remembered earlier when we were looking at Bitcoin and Ethereum from a fundamental perspective based on liquidity, which is what market makers use to know where to make the most amount of money, we saw that the longs outweighed the shorts. But here on Solana, we're getting sort of a different story. In this case, we're getting shorts outweighing the longs with hotspots all the way up to 83.925. Now, I am having a little bit of a difficult time believing this because if Bitcoin and Ethereum are likely to go down, then Solana is also likely going to follow. But there could be some sort of logical thing, and this is why we still need TA, because that tells us if whether or not there is an argument for this to be true, and if it will be easy for market makers to get to these liquidity points. And I mean, what better than having the best tools in the world, right? So let's go to Solana, see what it looks like from a TA perspective. I mean, you got a double bottom here. You're technically trying to form a higher bottom, but at the moment, your 4R could still go oversold. So not really a great argument for a move to the downside. I mean, you are at the 618, which is interesting. And I still can't get over the fact that our measured move for Solana is negative 76 on the 1-day chart. It's an absolute roadshow. Just like, ooh, negative 75. Fun. Okay, but anyways, let's actually look at Bitcoin dominance, and maybe that's going to give us an idea. So for those who don't know what Bitcoin dominance is, it's essentially just a chart that tells you how strong Bitcoin is relative to the rest of the coins, and the higher Bitcoin dominance is, the more it influences the moves of the other coins. And the lower Bitcoin dominance is, then the less Bitcoin is able to influence the moves of coins. So typically people will look at Bitcoin dominance to look for alt seasons, but that's neither here or there at the moment, since we are just in the bear market, right? Now, looking at our Bitcoin dominance on the 1-day, it is relatively low compared to, what is this, October? Yeah. Where it just cascaded, Bitcoin cascaded, brought everyone down, and it brought everyone down harder than it did itself. So now that Bitcoin dominance is down, it is trying to get up a little bit. But with the CPO plus like this pointed down and your momentum still showing some extension to the downside, it's possible we break below this previous week low and get over here. So the argument that Solana could get to, what was it, 83.4 or even 83 or almost 84 from where it is now seems to be the case, or it does hold some water in my opinion. Excuse me. So I do want to see what we could be using Solana for. Now I want to make a horizontal ray over here, and then I'll just set an alert right above it, also set an alert slightly below it, and I'll also set an alert right here. So I'll just wait for the market open to tell me what's gonna happen. Looking at Bitcoin, not particularly good. I mean, it's not ideal if you want your spot bags to be happy. Hey Dimitar. Morning. But yeah, I'm expecting downside market open, and then, you could get a fake out to the upside. That wouldn't surprise me, but I do expect downside with this market open, and then let's see what it does right after, or if this downside move is the preempt for people to hop in shorts and then it goes to the upside. We'll see. Looking at gold. So you guys can tell I just opened Trading View. So gold did bounce off here, and it is headed up. But I'm not entirely convinced that it's good already. We did get rejected from the dynamic reactor. We are facing some resistance here at whale resistance, and CPO plus is trying to get up, so I do think we could go back to the dynamic reactor, even to equilibrium, but I'm not sure how long that move's gonna last. Looking at the 12-hour, we are sort of at the bottom with an upward reversal. Let's look at the day. No, I'm not sure if, okay, no, there's enough information to work with. Yeah, the 1 day. It's trying to get back above the candle here. So I do want to set an alert if we get to that point, maintain. And I do want to set an alert over here for gold at 4.8 to see if we break further to the downside, because at least on the 1 day, it does seem like we do want to get more downside on gold. Because I'm eyeing a move back down to maybe 4.550 or 4.659. Let's look at silver. So the short idea I had on silver might not come true, given how low it is, but we'll see. Does look like we could get some upside on silver, but I don't expect too much upside. So I'll just set alerts at 78.5 and near 82, which is the money flow POC, and we'll see what happens to silver from there. Don't know what this is. Okay, that's jelly. Oh no, let's look at jelly, which was from last night. So, I mean, we were talking about these ranges, and it looks like had we monitored this closer and set a stop loss above this whale resistance, I think we would have done fine, and we could have gotten a nice short out of jelly. But as it stands, I think the train has left for now, and we should be focusing on other coins. Let's look at USDT dominance to see what it's like. So I was drawing this wedge, and I mean, it's not good. USDT dominance formed a double bottom with a very similar baseline, because then this would be the neckline, right? So we're likely going to get a test back here, and we need to determine if we break to the upside or we get rejected and we form a double top. Now, this is important because, again, for those who are new here, USDT dominance essentially is the amount of, or is the percentage of the space that people are holding their crypto in USDT rather than actual crypto coins. And that's important because that means that people are not investing or putting or storing their wealth in cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or Ethereum. And the more USDT dominance increases, the more people are holding in USDT, the more they're not buying, and the more likely price is going to go down for our actual cryptocurrencies or assets. Excuse me. So we still have about 6 minutes or 5 minutes to market open. So right now, oh, hey Tranquility, welcome to the show. Yeah. Again, if any of you guys have any coins you want me to look at or questions about indicators and whatnot, just let me know. We're going to try to find some setups tonight, but I need some clarity on market open. So right now, since we've covered the top three, gold, silver, and maybe like a coin of interest, jelly, I think right now it's really just a waiting game. Yeah. You know what I've noticed actually? Whenever. No, I don't know. I've just noticed this a little bit recently in terms of what we experience during market open is that market makers will do the volatile move and then just bring us back to where we were a couple hours before market open. So it's possible we get back to 67.5, and I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, look at this move right here. Right, down, switch to red at this point, and then now you're starting to move back to the upside. Your 1 hour VRVP or fixed vol. Oh no, this is different. This is a bar magnified volume profile fixed range by Chart Prime. It says your point of interest. You want to go back to 68,394. Now, I'm kind of curious. I mean, it's not a perfect channel, but it is a channel. Wait, let me. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. There you go. Channels often have a higher likelihood of breaking to the upside. So we could see a break to the upside here, or we can further capitulate down, get to the bottom part of the channel, and maybe even go to 66.2, which is our point of interest for BTC. So there is about 50 seconds before market open, and let's just see how this goes. Hey Cranium, it's actually it's been a very long while. Welcome back. Wallet, welcome to the show. Right now we're just watching 30 seconds before market open. Maybe just as a kicker, fundamental analysis is showing a lot more longs on the 24-hour or 1-day chart, but there is a bias to the upside as early as the 7-day chart. So I'm thinking we could go back, or we could go down to 66,192, a very violent wick, sort of like yesterday's candle, and then maybe head up. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So we closed 67.50, market open. Hey Cranium. We're getting rejection from the POC. I think we see bigger candles at this point. Oof. That is just a terrifying fight right there. Come on, make up your mind. We are seeing indecision live in its natural habitat. Oh. Downside? Nope. Damn. It's like watching ants. I don't know if you guys ever just watched ants. This feels like watching ants right now. You don't understand what they're doing, but eventually it makes a lot of sense. Upside? Break above the wick? Can you get to the 618? No? Upside? Really? Oh. Ooh. Okay, let's not celebrate too early. We're watching the fireworks right now, but this could easily reverse on us, and never trade the first, I would say, 15 minutes minimum of market open, because that's when all the volatility happens, and you don't want to be trapped on one side or the other. But we can enjoy the fireworks while it's here. Ooh. If we close strong here in the 5 minutes, I can see a move back to this point of interest at 67.5, and then we can test our reactors, see if we can get above those. But if we don't and we close weak, and by weak we close below this wick right here, then I don't see us getting a very strong move or a convincing move to the upside. Oof. I hope I didn't jinx that. Back to bear strength, really? Come on. Actually, I kind of want to try out some of these tools. Is it possible to put a poll in Discord in like the chat? Oh yeah, it is. Okay. Just like as a fun thing, do you? Because we got 1 minute left. Do you think BTC closes above wick? Question mark. Yes. No. 1 hour. Yeah. Okay. Just as a fun thing, I want to know if you guys think it'll close above the wick. Okay. Oof. 30 seconds left. I mean, a lot of things can happen in 30 seconds if we're on a 5 minute chart. Okay, I can see the results. More people are saying no than they are saying yes. Oof. 12 seconds. Nope. I think we closed below the wick. Miracles can happen, but I don't know if the miracles can happen right now. Nope. Okay, yeah. We're going down. We're going down. That's a longer wick for this one to fill. Although, if you leave such a long wick, you do fill a lot of it, but then if you have this much selling pressure on the candle, it's very unlikely that you're gonna get that far or get too far. So I guess we get downside. So we're framing a move to maybe 66.2. We'll see. Technically, this is also the midline of the parallel channel that we drew earlier. So yeah. Ooh, it's doing the same thing. I don't know if it can even accomplish it. I mean, yesterday it accomplished it. I don't know if it can today. But feels like we're trying to get above it. Alright, price is just not letting us. No, this will probably or most likely continue. But yeah, it looks like no. Oh, more people voted no, so. What do you look at to make a decision on whether BTC would close above or below wick? What do you mean? Like, if the current candle's gonna close above the last wick, or time? You sort of just wait for it, right? Because candle theory says that you got selling pressure at this point. So if you're able to overcome that candle with a body, that means you've basically engulfed the last candle, and people are happy to buy at a point where just 5 minutes ago people were selling. right? So that would mean that you get a continued move to the upside. But here in this case, right, we got people to buy up to 67.3, but at that point in time, people just started selling, and we got selling pressure, which created this very bearish candle. Now, for this candle, if we can get above the last candle or even close up here, at least 67.306, that would tell me that there is potential for upside. But if we can't get above this wick right here, it's going to be difficult because that means people are still selling at these prices and they're happy to sell, right? It seems like people are happy to buy here and, may or may not hold. We'll have to see. But really, I just wait for the candle close. And that's not necessarily, I'm not necessarily looking at the CPO plus or the MVP ribbon. It's more of just classic uh, candle analysis, right? Now, what I will use this for eventually is if this can twist into pink and maybe even go green, we can potentially long, and we'll see, right? But again, we don't trade the first minimum 15 minutes of the market open. The longer you don't trade the market open, the better, right? 30 minutes would probably be better. I know people wait a whole hour, and that's fine, right? But you don't want to trade at this point because you just get disgusting moves. I mean, like you got move here, people bought optimism because they're like, oh, it's engulfing. Then they just sold it, and now we're going back here. So if you shorted down here, you're now in drawdown, right? So generally, this is just a show, not show and tell, but we're just watching and entertaining ourselves with the the stupidity that is wicks and bodies. Yeah. Oh, hey, top recruits. I don't know if this is this the first time you've been on my stream, but I do see you like taking my signals and reacting. So thank you so much for the trust. Yeah, you're very welcome, Eddie. Yeah, okay, so we did get above, or we did close with a decently strong body. Our CPO plus did turn. We are getting some bullish volume back. But again, we need to close above this wick. Otherwise, it becomes difficult to justify a move to the upside, right? We want to close above this wick. If we can close above that wick, then we could frame some longs moving forward. Uh, Granted, based on our FA, we could go down all the way to 66,192. Doesn't surprise me if that's even like a wick itself to the downside, and then back up because I mean we had a couple moves like that. Actually, I'm not sure. Was it here? I'm not too sure. But yeah, let's just see how this closes. If we can get some bullish strength back into our candles, that would be great as well. Yeah, if this closes above the last wick and has such a long wick to the upside, then we are going to get a bullish continuation. Yeah. 30 seconds before close. Let's see how we close. And then maybe we can frame our scalps for the day. Oof. Although if it closes like this, it gets really difficult to decide what we want to do. Not ideal. I'll wait for the 1 hour. We could still get downside onto the 1 hour. Potentially putting a long. Okay, so for those who are new here, how I basically set my scalps up, or any trade that I do live, is and I differentiate it based on an idea and an endorsement. So an idea is just me just playing around, seeing if something makes sense, whereas an endorsement is full on, I am in this trade with you, go and take this trade. So the scalp that I announced last night, or for you guys it would be yesterday morning, that was an endorsement. So right now this is an idea, and we'll just have to see, because what I'm thinking is, even if we do get this move to the upside, even if we can close above this wick, 618 and the dynamic reactors, or the reactors themselves, might act as very strong resistance. It's also possible, based on the 1 hour, that we want to go all the way down to the lower extremity. So that would be here by the discount on the 5 minutes, which also happens to be a prime block, which is more biased to the bullet, more biased, bullishly biased. Is that the term? Yeah, more bullishly biased. Okay, let's just go with that. And it's at the discount zone here on the 5 minutes. So something like this, there's 3 points of confluence that would tell you that this might be a decent place to take a long. Stop loss below previous day low, because if it gets below this, you'd expect to bounce. And then maybe take profit at the reactor here on the 1 hour. That would put you at about 2.5. So this is just an idea. Not an official endorsement just yet. We need a few more factors to consider before getting into this, which is, how does the 1 hour close? How does how does the next 15 minutes close? That's also a very important question. Do we turn red, or do we transition on the CPO plus? And yeah, so again, this is just an idea. I'm just putting something on the chart just for us to see, and maybe things might pan out. So I'm going to set an alert here, see what happens if we touch this lower region again. Let's look at the gold, because we got an alert. So we got an alert 4967. We got past the dynamic reactor here on the 1 hour. We are now testing that liquidity block. Let's see what gold does. If it gets to this point, I might take a short. That actually would set up a double top, right? So again, this is also an idea where I am potentially framing a short. Okay, so Bitcoin just crossed. Okay, let's just do this. See this. Okay, let's go back to Bitcoin, see what's up. Okay, so yeah, exactly. Just an idea, not an endorsement. And this is why. It could easily break down past 66,456, go to our point of interest at 66.2. So we'll have to see if it does that, and if it's actually precedented. So let's go. Oh, okay, quite ugly. So this is the long-term long that we are holding. So 66.2 doesn't seem, it does seem precedented. Precedent, yeah, because 64 is our support down here. So yeah, okay, let's go back to it. Fresh, see how we're doing. Gold. 4 hour doesn't look too good. So let's remove this idea. Actually, no, let's put it back, see if there's any sense to it. So 5 minutes closed. Very bearish. No way we're getting above that candle anymore. But we'll see. We'll see if we can. Let's wait for the hourly close in 10 minutes. Yeah. Oh, hey, Henry's Pokemon? Sorry, the name's truncated, so I can't see the full name, but yeah, welcome to the show. Absolutely love your profile picture, by the way. It's a Dizzy unicorn with a hat. It's crazy. Okay, let's just wait and see. Oh, lovely. So that's really cool. What's your favorite generation? I'm a Gen 4 kind of guy. I love my Hoenn Pokemon. Gen 2 and 5. Solid. That is solid. Oh, Hoenn is Gen 3. Never is it Gen 3? Yeah, no, sorry, Gen 3. Cuz it's red, gold. Oh, yeah, Kanto, Johto, Hoenn. Yeah. I see. So like Pokemon cards. That's really cool. Like that's really cool. Okay, let's see how this closes. If it literally goes back to where it was and leaves this really long wick on the 1 hour, then that's just pure manipulation. And it's a good thing we stayed out. Okay, 2 minutes. Excuse me. Okay, give me 1 sec, guys. I'm just gonna quickly stand. All right. But don't worry, I am still going to watch charts as we do this. I just have to stand because the doctor said so. Yeah. All right, 1 minute. Oh, okay. 1 minute 20. Oh, man, that might have just been a liquidity hunt. It would surprise me if it just engulfs and goes back here. All right, 50 seconds. If this closes pretty strong, then we'll have our we'll have we'll be able to make a decision on the next candle, I feel. Okay. 16, 15. It might actually engulf the last candle, which will actually then coincide with the idea that we basically wanted downside first to get some of the longs. Okay, so transition with an up reversal. Uh, let's see here. We could potentially still retest back to 668, but the likelihood, not too sure. We could have actually used this, which would have given us that node right here. Um, hmm. Okay. So I'm thinking we can just move our scalp somewhere here by the POC and then trade it back to the top just like this. Maybe lessen the stop loss. So when you get a move like this on the next candle, because it will close the 1 hour, I do think you are going to get some sort of retest back to the downside, which would allow us to basically enter. So let's just wait for this, but this is the idea I've got. I want to confirm on the 1 hour, and then I'll tell you guys if I'm hopping in as well. But ideally, I want even just a neutral close on this candle, right? Because if it's a neutral close, then this candle closes with a long wick to the downside and no body, and that would mean that this is a more bullish candle, and that's your reversal candle back to the upside. And the next candle would just have like a small retest and then head back up. And I'm curious to see how the CPO plus is going to transform on the next candle. So we still have 2 minutes. Just wait and see what it does. Okay. Probably the most fun, but also the most tedious part of scalping is really just the watching and waiting. Like I hate it, but I also this is the most enjoyable part as well. So at least with swinging, I'm able to set that in advance. But right now it's the watching and waiting. Oh, all right. Thank you so much for the compliment. Well, good luck at work, top recruits, and thank you for dropping by. The session's recorded, so in case you want to watch it later, it'll be posted. Hopefully by 11 a.m. EST, since I still have to lower the file size. But yeah, thank you so much for dropping by, and I really do appreciate your kind words. All right. So, 8 seconds. Let's see if we can get a neutral close. Um, okay, I mean, it's a fairly neutral close, which I do like. So, I think we can go ahead with this idea. So, this is officially an endorsement. I'm going, you know what, maybe I'll put it down here. Let's see if we can get this hit. Right? Because I do think you can get like a nice little wick here and then move. You could also enter market, but uh, I'll go ahead and set up the announcement to everyone. So you guys are here first. 66564, 67018 entry, and then take profit at 68.2, and then probably anywhere from 25 to 50x for the leverage, which might seem like a lot for those who aren't on a cross margin strategy, because it is. But I do a cross margin strategy, so 25, I get psychological satisfaction from seeing higher ROI numbers, but only using like 1% or 0.5% of my portfolio. So yeah, don't worry. I know it's a little daunting for me to say, oh, use 25, 50x and like 20% of your portfolio. Only use 1%. Yeah. So let me just type this in. Okay, six. I hate that it's 67. Like, you know what? Make 20. No, let's just do 1.8. To be fair. 66. 4. What do we want our first take profit to be? Probably 67,588. Oh, really? We're just pushing up. Maybe the first idea was the better idea. Oh, shucks. Ah. Okay. No, no. There's a good possibility it still comes back down. If not, I'll just announce to cancel. Kind of funny though. The ranges are very similar to what we had yesterday. Like I also called at roughly 67k. What was it? 67.2, right? And then very similar. Ooh, yeah, that's sort of what I was looking for. All right, let's see if we can get the scalp to work. And okay, I can go back and sit down. Put on the cold compress and turn on my camera again. All right. Hey, yeah. What was that? Hey guys. Yeah. All right, let me time again. But yeah. So this stream, we still have about 40 minutes on the stream. So if anyone has any questions about indicators or uh, how or any coins you want me to look at to do some TA, just let me know, right? I'm not gonna bite. Yeah, just let me know. Yeah, man. The first idea was pretty good. It's already there. Damn. If we hit first take profit before we uh get to our entry, we're gonna have to call it quits. So that's over here. It might actually reach it before. Oh, that would suck. Okay. There's still hope we can get to entry. Although if you that might invalidate the whole setup if that's the case. Uh, not ideal. So we'll wait and see. Mm, mm, not really liking this candle. But I mean, there's what? How many 5 minutes? 12. So you could be looking at something like this. No, that's that. I don't even know what that is. Doesn't look like anything. Uh, uh, maybe nope. Kind of looks ugly. Hmm. Close to the 618, if not at the 618. Oh, it's slightly below. No, rejected off the 618. Mm. I entered gold long at 4937, target 5107. Oh, okay, sorry, I didn't even see that. Let's see, 4937, 5107 target. Actually, hold on, let me try to visualize that. Let me hide, no, just delete that. Long position. Oh, you entered pretty low. Stop loss 4858. Yeah, really far stop loss too. Right away, I love how nice this is looking. So target at 5107. So let me just extend this a bit and then go to 5107. Okay. Ooh, the previous week high. I think it's good. I'd just be a little bit worried about what happens when we hit this range. So between 499 and 5026. So obviously 499 is going to be your psychological resistance to get to 5000, and then it's also resistance from the quantum reactor. You also happen to have a prime block which is imbalanced to the bearish side, resistance, and when you get to 5026, that's the highest trade, or that's the price with the most traded volume. which means that this whole area right here is just one strong resistance. So I'd just be careful. Definitely set alerts, and I think at this point when you get here, it would probably be smart to move your SL like higher or to break even. But I think that's a solid entry. I also think 5107 makes sense. It's at the premium of the 1 hour, and typically when you get to previous week high, even if you reject past it, you do tend to just wick slightly above it and then reject. So yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. That I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I also think at this point you're gonna get overbought on the 1 hour, which would be just a recipe for rejection. Well, not rejection. Actually, yeah. Term rejection's the correct term. Let's look at how Bitcoin's doing. So we got the diamond trend shift here, which is interesting because this closed somewhat bullish, which means that if we get to our first uh if we get to our first TP, then we gotta cancel unless you guys are in a market long. So that would have placed you like somewhere here, maybe. So yeah. But let's see how that works. Hey Hugh Hector, welcome. But yeah, I like your entry, Daga. Had I been paying attention, actually no, I don't know if I'd even catch this paying attention. But this is solid. I mean, entered at support, got above the dynamic reactor. It's a solid entry. Uh, Silver's doing the same thing. Oh, this would have been a pretty decent long actually on silver. How's Bitcoin doing? Okay. Yeah, let's see if we get to our first take profit first or if we get to our entry first. If we get first TP first, then uh we should expect to basically close or cancel the scalp, which is unfortunate. Oof, that's a long wick for it to travel above. But if it can do it, then it can probably do it. But yeah, I think this is what I was saying. Like, we started the stream around this time, 22 o'clock, right? And for quite a while, we were just basically, we came back to where we started on the stream. So we are moving up. I kind of want to look at how our fundamental analysis has changed um, in the past couple of, well, actually, it's only been an hour and 20 minutes. So fear and greed index again is at 9, so it's a drop of 2 from yesterday. So this has refreshed, I believe. Yeah, it has refreshed. So now there are less longs, and basically, excuse me, and basically we've gotten shorts to outdo longs in terms of the cumulative leverage. So that means there are more shorts currently than there are longs. So now the bias is to the upside. But again, you still have big clusters, which does worry me. We're not getting such a big volatility break. I mean, earlier you could count that as a big volatility break. 30-day, that's when the imbalance is more um, visually seen. And of course, the higher you go, the more the imbalance to the upside is evident, right? So cumulative longs down is about 1.54 down to 54,000, and if you go up back to 97, you get 20 billion. So it makes more sense to go up. Looking at the RSI heat map, which has reset, a lot of coins have now moved into neutral, so we're in basically decision making mode. This hasn't I don't think this has restarted. I probably should have looked at Solana. Or maybe I should have kept it at BTC. Let's look at how BTC has changed. So, I mean, it went for this liquidity hotspot at 66. It didn't go anymore for the hotspot we had lower, which does tell me that if you go to the 48 hour, then yeah, you got another hotspot at about 68. You got your wick to the hotspot here at 66, and now you want to head back up. So the targets are going to be at 68,000. You still have hotspots. Actually, if you lower the liquidity threshold, this becomes a lot more evident that it is a hotspot, and you go up to 69. So we're going to have to observe very carefully whether or not Bitcoin does want to head or wants to stay headed up, because of the fact that your 1 hour is in a descending channel, which is bullish in nature, but you're basically dealing with let's go to the 12 hour so we can actually see this. But we're dealing with a case where I didn't mean to do that. A case where we fell out of the ascending triangle, but there's a possibility we get back into the ascending triangle, and this was just a fake out, and a double bottom will have formed. It is possible, right? I don't know how likely it is, but we're gonna have to wait and see, and we're only gonna find out in the next maybe 12 hours. Now, we haven't gotten a true decision on whether or not Bitcoin's going back to our entry, which sucks. right? Actually, did anyone take the trade at market price by any chance, or no? We're all here at 67 because I placed my order at 67. Oh my goodness, Daggett, don't mess with me like that. 1,001. I don't even know if that's possible. But you know what? If you're in 1,000x, I'll find an exchange that'll let me do 10,000x leverage, and I'm a bet 100%. You know, I'm gonna die at like a 0.001% move or something. I don't. Yeah. Anyways, in all seriousness though, I'm not sure if we're gonna get to our entry. So if anyone entered market, that might have been. Oh, damn it, Daga. Why you gotta be like this? But kudos. I mean, my long is still playing out, but I mean it's not playing out as fun as I initially hoped, but it's playing out. I mean, entry at 62 4. Minimal drawdown. Let's see if we can keep this up, but I might actually have to flip short if we're not able to get a reclamation anytime soon. Yeah. Hopefully this 30 minutes Binance will give me that reclamation I want. But we'll see. Um, Going back here. Yeah. In any case, if the stream ends, which is in 20 minutes, if it ends before we're able to get any clear confirmation of whether it'll hit first TP first or entry, I'll probably just have to cancel the scalp. Okay, hold on. Not looking good. Okay, so hidden bearish divergence here on the 5 minutes. Uh, red diamond shift. Ooh. Ave hidden bullish. BCH oversold. Hey, little fish. Welcome. Good morning. Good morning. So we're trying to scalp long BTC again. Now, the downside here is uh not entirely sure if I want to continue with this scalp just because we did get that hidden bearish div. It's possible it goes back down to our entry right here and then just bounces off, right? But that would probably invalidate how our 1 hour closes, and I wouldn't like that. Yeah, I mean, big move to the downside, then literally engulfed it in the next 3 candles, and now we're stuck in the air. So I don't know. I'm also not sure because, again, I've been doing the BTC updates, right, and we've fallen out of the triangle, but our fall isn't that strong, and it's a little confusing too, in terms of like the candle structure. Um, there's just not enough clarity at the moment, I feel. But we gotta trade in these conditions because otherwise, then I mean, there's also the option not to trade. But if you are in trades and you want to trade, then you need the toolkits and the attitude to trade in these conditions. Let's see how we close here. I do think we could get to entry now. It would make sense. From the 5 minutes, this is your next high volume node, so it does make sense you'd come back here. And then maybe head up. Does check out to me. Nice. Nice. Congratulations. Damn. Trend classifier. Oh, the one that colors the, yeah, I love trend classifier too. I did turn off like the, what's this, the line it draws, because I don't really use it, but I know what you mean. It is useful. I know you can all, I'm sure you can yeah, I mean, I changed the colors of mine, so yeah. For those who don't know, trend classifier by Chart Prime, uh, wonderful indicator. It just colors your candles and gives you a nice bull strength, bear strength meter. So it also informs whether or not the algorithm thinks your or the price action right now has enough sustained power. And then if it's yellow, it's just ranging. You can see how accurate that is. I mean, red and then just chop yellow, green and then yellow. It's not sure. Red, yellow. So pretty good. Yeah, I think we basically invalidated the hidden bearish div. I mean, it's still possible you get a massive move to the downside like this, right? But we'll have to see. Yep. If we hit first take profit first, I'm canceling the scalp. And there's still 10 minutes on the show, so if anyone has any coins or any asset class you want me to look at, just let me know. I'm not gonna bite, and who knows, we might discover something pretty cool together. Yeah. Hey, Sam 2013 clone. Tau, of course. Um, Hold on. Let's see if we hit this. Well, that's indecisive. We'll find out. Let's go to Tau. This. Okay, you know what? Yep. Okay. So we hit our first take profit. So I'm going to announce that we gotta cancel the scalp. If you entered market. Sure. All right. I'll look at Tau first, and then we can have a look at World Liberty Finance. So, let's look at it from a swing perspective. Ooh, okay. So it's really just been ranging. It's been stuck in this range. Let's see if there's any structures that form. But at least what I'm seeing here on the higher time frame is something like, okay, yeah, it's drawn a symmetrical triangle, and that's sort of what I'm also seeing. So you got something like this, and then something like this as well, right? And if you're if you came from a sort of pattern or yeah, pattern recognition background like me, that does look like a flag, right? And you can potentially place that, which puts your measured move at about 252. Now, there are some things I am a little bit cautious about with regard to how Tau's moving. First of all, right, we are now above the point of interest here on the 4 hour. So the point of interest happens to line up very well with the dynamic reactor. Sorry, the dynamic reactor is not really giving anything that cohesive at the moment. It's just flipping as price tends to range. Now, if you know the theory behind your volume profile is that when you have big gaps such as this, you're very likely going to go skip to the level really quickly. And you can see that sort of happen right here. The last high volume node prior to this was around this region. So it lines up here. You quickly skip to this level right here. And from there, you quickly go to the next high volume node. So very ugly drawings, I know, but bear with me. So the theory would tell you that you are headed up to 215. So personally, right now, I would wait a little bit. I mean, you could take a long right now, given that you're oversold on the 30 minutes, but I would probably put my stop loss below the triangle. So maybe at around 176. That's a very far stop loss from 190. Low leverage, ride up possibly, and then set alerts for 215. That's what I would do if you're planning to go long on Tau, because Tau does look fairly good. Let's look at maybe a higher time frame to see if that corroborates the theory. So I mean, it's saying the smart target is to the downside, but your CPO plus is positive with green volume incoming, and your MVP ribbon wants to get above your fluid zero line. So I would take a long on Tau. Yeah. Hey, Hiya Perry, welcome. It's been a while. Um, how have you been? I hope you're doing well yourself. All right, let's look at the World Liberty Finance. You're very welcome, Sam. Let's look at World Liberty Finance. I still got 5 minutes, so let's make the most of that 5 minutes. Ooh. Okay, so 4 hour is overbought. So it's a very different chart from Tau. You are leaving this long wick. Now let's go to the 30 minutes, see what we're dealing with. So I do like the spike in money inflow, and your bearish divergence. I don't know why I can't speak English today. That's rough. Your bearish divergences are playing out at the moment. You did get a bullish cross on the 30 minutes. So what I would personally wait right now is to see if you go overbought and how that might. Okay, so there's two ways to go about this, right? Either you want to short right now, not right now, but wait for the opportunity to short a correction, because while this is a nice double, I don't know, this is an upside down bar, right? That's the. How do you do it again? Shoot, I forgot how to invert. Is it control shift I? No. Control function I? No. Control alt I? No. Alt I. There we go. Alt I. So that is an upside down bar, and yeah, I mean, it played out pretty well. What I would do is simply wait, either short the correction for like a quick swing or a scalp, and then long the where it lands. So that correction could be anywhere from this point, so long as the CPO plus transitions, or the MVP ribbon transitions in color as well, and then starts curving to the downside, because this is a big move, right? And you're gonna need to correct. I mean, you saw this move, you got a correction, right? So when you get up here, you got selling pressure, you're gonna need to correct. Now that might stop at the dynamic reactor, which might not make things worth it. So I would just wait. But currently the move is kind of exhausted, and you can either short the correction or long wherever the correction ends, because it does look like we will have more room to the upside. Let's see if the 1 day agrees with that idea. Yeah, I mean, money inflow green. I think the 1 day agrees with the idea that you are going to continue up. Then I would simply take profits at maybe 0.14 to buy this area right here. I hope that helps, Quantum Swap. Yeah. All right. I think this is the. Really? Hold on. No way. Oh my goodness. That is fantastic. Oh, it's breaking above the. Okay, wait. I have to post the. um. BTC scalp long update. If you entered market, you now have full TP. Add crypto signal. Okay, so that's crazy. That is, what is this? Okay, I still have 2 minutes. I can admire the fact that this happened. No, this is from 67.4 to 68, so that's a $600 candle in just 5 minutes. That is insane. But let's see if we can actually break out of this descending channel, because that's what's gonna matter, right? It doesn't really matter if we can't get above into the triangle. So for context, this is what the 1R looks like. If we zoom out, descending triangle, we fell out, right? Now we're retesting. If we can, descending channel, we've got a ton of resistances, but if we break these systematically, right, because all of these is just forming resistances, but if we can break those systematically, then we are going to get some upside. Now, I don't think we're going to get to all-time highs. I've been very vocal about that. We are most likely getting to this level, right? And even these resistances as well, possibly. But at this point, that's going to be very difficult for us, and I think we're going to capitulate back to the downside from there. But let's see how it plays out. But the 1 hour potentially can close really strong, or at least the current 1 hour candle could potentially close very strong, depending on how our 5 minutes and 15 minutes look. So yeah. Oh, looks like it is the end of the show. So thank you guys so much for dropping by. Tranquility. Oh, Jayton, welcome. And Elrod, thank you so much for joining me. I'll try to get this uploaded as soon as possible. But with that said, I'm. It was very fun. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 9:30. Yeah, 9:30 EST. So market open, and yeah, thank you guys so much for dropping by. Once again, I am Langstrom, and don't forget to always use a stop loss. See you guys.